Hi everyone, and welcome to the first of my Game Exchange spin-off, Learning Languages with Video Games. Now, I get a lot of requests to teach people Japanese in my videos, but I couldn't find a good way to present that information, until now that is. Since many video games come from or are influenced by Japan, I think it'd be pretty easy to learn a little bit of the language from the electronic pastime that we all love. Also, with gaming becoming such a large part of the entire world, there are limitless possibilities with other languages as well. For this first episode, I want to use an upcoming indie game that's pretty hot in the community right now, Mighty No. 9. A spiritual successor to the Mega Man franchise that has many of the original Mega Man staff working on it. Personally, I can't wait for the game. Something that the Mighty No. 9 team does very frequently is provide design notes and sketches, and it was after looking through these I thought it might be cool to teach you guys some of what this means in order to get you started learning the language. Now, before we get started learning, I need to point one quick thing out. Japanese uses 3 different alphabets: hiragana, katakana, and kanji. Kanji basically being borrowed Chinese for use of most Japanese words, hiragana used for other native Japanese words and grammar, and katakana used for loan words and non-Japanese words. I provided links in the description of some good charts to use alongside this lesson. Go ahead and pause this video and bring them up. You might want to use them for reference. The first place to start is to understand how the different alphabets look. Let's get started with Mighty No. 5. This Japanese right here, in katakana, reads ga, to, ri, gu. So go ahead and use your katakana reference sheet to find the different characters. When you say this word together, it sounds like Gatling, right? Well, that's because this particular Japanese word is borrowed from the English word. Therefore, this uses katakana. Notice the ka and the ku have 2 little marks on the ends of them. This modifies the vowel sound of the character. You can find references to these changes in that reference sheet. Alright, let's move on to Mighty No. 6. In this design, we have both katakana and kanji. On the left is a 2 kanji word, hiko, which means flight. Now, if you looked up the first kanji in the dictionary, you'll find that there are 2 sounds this kanji can make, to and hi. These 2 different sounds are based on the Onyomi and Kunyomi readings. To tell the difference, you can usually follow this rule. If 2 kanji are together, it usually uses the Onyomi reading. If it's a single kanji with hiragana, then it's usually Kunyomi. This rule doesn't work all the time, so be careful. At this point, you might be asking, what's the difference between Onyomi and Kunyomi? Long story short, Onyomi borrows from Chinese reading, while Kunyomi is the old Japanese used before the influences of China came. So next we have a katakana word. Go ahead and pause the video and use your katakana sheet to determine what the word is. I bet you'll be surprised at how much sense it makes. Got that? Good. Let's look at just one more mighty number before I have to close this first episode. This has been a lot of information and I don't want to overwork your brain. Alrighty, so Mighty No. 2. The kanji representing this design are twofold. One of them being sui or mizu, meaning water, and the other one being hori or ice. Something to understand early on about kanji is that many kanji that look similar in appearance can also be similar in what they mean. The difference here is that the kanji for ice has a small dot, but otherwise it's identical to water. See this kanji? It means wood or tree, and it even looks like a tree. This one means grove, and this one means woodlands. Even though memorizing kanji can be really daunting, since it's very symbolic, it's not impossible to understand. Lastly, let's look down at the side at all this hiragana here. Now it looks like Mighty No. 2 might be carrying 3 different backpacks, but what are they? Grab your hiragana reference sheet and let's see what these are. The first one says mizu, and we already know what that means. The next one is a reizouko. A simple search shows that reizouko means refrigerator. Since this is not a loan word, it uses hiragana. This image and this other image shows Mighty No. 2 is probably going to throw some ice at us as well. Lastly, the final word says yakuhin. What's tricky about this is that this word can be very contextual. In a lot of dictionaries, this word is going to be listed as either medicine or chemicals. We need context to determine this word. Though I think it's pretty safe to say it probably means chemicals in this case because of that skull on the backpack. And this is the other tricky thing about Japanese. Not only does it have 3 alphabets, one of which consisting of thousands of characters, but Japanese is very contextual. Rarely will you hear things like subjects and sentences. So you have to pay very close attention to understand the context. Alright everyone, I think that's enough for now. But I'll cover more from this awesome upcoming game in part 2. If you haven't checked out the Mighty No. 9's Kickstarter yet, I highly suggest you do. They've cleared their intended goal already, but there is a lot of cool stuff in the stretch goals, so don't miss it. See you on part 2. This is Gaijin Goombah, signing out.